Yes. Welcome once again to the No Cell Wrestling Podcast. This is episode 11. My name is Nick, otherwise known as Tequila the Body Ventura, and I am today joined with Alan, Com, and Rebel. How are we doing, fellas?
Doing good so far.
Not bad, thanks.
Yeah, decent. Fair play.
Right, so another week goes by. Another two more shows have happened. We've got a pay-per-view. I still call them that. Sorry, PLE.
Yeah, I call them pay-per-views too.
Yeah, I know. Imagine if you were paying them actual pay-per-views for 4 matches. So there's Backlash this weekend. So before we get started, I want to say thank you for anyone who subscribed and continues to watch us. We are all grateful. But I guess we'll start with. Let's start with SmackDown. Because SmackDown we seem to forget about because we record this on a Wednesday. Did any of us watch SmackDown last week? Because that's happened since the last show. Did any of us see SmackDown on Friday?
Yeah, I saw SmackDown.
Any thoughts? Or anything?
See you, Ricky Saints.
Yeah,
I thought the segment between him and Cody Rhodes was actually quite good because obviously they've got history being both in AEW.
The best mates.
Obviously, good. They're best mates behind the scenes as well.
Yeah.
I thought Ricky Saints really cut a good promo. It's just a shame that. I mean, what else could you expect? He's against the world champion. If you someone.
Yeah.
Then the world champion.
Weird,
yeah,
but it's a weird booking decision though, and I think I said this to you guys in WhatsApp. Obafemi didn't lose.
No.
When he fought Cody in his first match on the main roster.
That's right. Yeah, it was a draw, wasn't it? Because interference by. I can't remember who interfered now. Someone interfered.
Drew McIntyre.
That's right. Yeah, it was a double DQ, not double DQ, but a DQ anyway.
Yeah, so it's I know. So that's two NXT guys who have debuted facing the world champion, and Ricky Saints got pinned. So I don't think it was the best way. There's going to be arguments, and I don't know what Com Rebel think. There's going to be arguments like, oh well, he's in there with the main eventers. That makes him a main eventer. No, it doesn't. No, it's not as simple as that.
No, he's still a mid-carder, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't beaten he wasn't beaten in a minute or so, but I mean, it wasn't. Let's not get carried away. It's not like it was that much of a back and forth match. It wasn't like it was kick out. It wasn't that.
Do you know, actually, this is how it seemed to me, right? It seemed to me like playing a 2K game on easy. Mm. He's getting all this offense in, and then all Cody does was like literally like 2 moves on him. Was it a Cody cut and then crossroads, and that's pretty much it. That was Cody's offense for the whole match, and that beat him. And
we know in wrestling nowadays is that nobody gets pinned with if you're anyone of any value, you don't get pinned with one finisher. You know that is true.
Yeah.
So they told you that that he was not top.
I suppose, and I suppose in a way it depends on how much respect you, because you and me spoke years ago about that great pay per view that Vince McMahon came up with, Great Balls of Fire, Samoa Joe versus Brock Lesnar.
Yeah,
because Samoa Joe had a lot of respect for Brock Lesnar. He says, "I don't mind getting pinned with one F5 because that move needs to be protected."
Yeah, but the F5 generally was protected, other than against Roman Reigns, who kicked out of 6. And people wonder why I dislike Roman, right? He kicked out of 6 F5s.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. No. Okay, just no.
Yeah.
So
and even the crossroads these days, everyone kicks out of that too.
Yeah, they do. That's what I mean. So that's what I was going to say. It's not a protected finisher. It should be, but it's not treated as a protected finisher because everyone kicks out of it.
But is any finisher nowadays considered a protected finisher?
Yes. At the start of people's career, the answer is yes. Obafemi's little powerbomb, right? Right now, ain't nobody kicking out of it. For now.
But that's not because it's protected. That's because they have put all the eggs in his basket because they don't have a big, strong, dominant guy anymore. So he is the new one, and they are pushing him to be that. It's not that his finisher's been protected. It's that he's being protected.
Yeah, but eventually, it might not be this year, but a couple of years down the line, people are going to start kicking out. Not yet, but people will start kicking out of that finisher. It will, just like the F5, which put everyone down, right? That has started being. That was, like I say, Roman Reigns forever destroyed that move. If anyone gets pinned with one F5, I don't buy it. As Alan made a great example. I understand why Samoa Joe respected it, but it made Joe look bad because it's like it only took one. Roman Reigns kicked out of 6 of them. It takes one.
You'd expect, like, for instance, a Spike Dudley kind of character, like this small, thin kind of character get put out by one. Yeah, and you'd be like, okay, yeah, that kind of makes sense. But I mean, I kind of see why Roman Reigns didn't get pinned by one, but to kick out of 6 is ridiculous.
Yeah, but I suppose you have to kind of look at it from a multitude of facets. Like, kicking out clean is one thing. Kicking out using, kind of skullduggery, obviously, is another thing. And you can obviously protect the finish while also having somebody look strong. But yeah, as you said, kicking out of 6, like, that's AEW level shit. Like, where it's finisher after finisher after finisher.
I agree with you, Rebel. Right? There's different ways to get out of pinfalls. Right? There's the old classic: put your leg over the ropes. That protects a finisher. If he's near the ropes, you put your leg over the ropes, right? Or you put your leg out of the ring, right? That protects the finisher, right? Reigns kicked out of every one of them. Didn't put his foot on the ropes. Kicks out.
Yeah.
Again and again.
And I don't think any one of them was a weak kick out either.
No. And after the first 1 or 2, any drama was just like, no, it became comical. It became it drew that line between it became unrealistic. It was not realistic. It ruined any suspense. I mean, that's Vince. That's Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon decided to book that match. And we all know apparently Lesnar went backstage after the match and was furious, threw the title at him. Don't blame him. Whoever designed that match was not thinking of Brock Lesnar. Let's put it that way. They were not thinking of Brock Lesnar, trying to help Brock Lesnar. So, anyway, it's a long time ago. Don't get me started on Roman. I'll be getting to him later on. So, did anyone else see Rebel or Com any views on SmackDown before we head to Raw? Because, like I said, we seem to miss out. No.
There was the one bit of comedy, obviously, Danhausen and The Miz and the real man, Mr. Toxic himself, had a bit of a mock battle for Miz, where Miz pretended to align with Danhausen, and then they for the first time ever put him down. So that's absolutely going to lead to a backlash thing. But I suppose there's rumors that SmackDown's going back to 2 hours, and I'm here for it because it feels stretched.
I mean, they might as well. They lost half their roster. Sorry.
It's true. A lot of work up from SmackDown.
They might as well go to it. Yeah, exactly.
Well, we'll get to the next bout of releases soon. Okay, let's just move to Raw then. We can talk about the Sol Ruca botch. I'm sure we'll get to it. But I thought the best work from what I've seen, just like I thought last week, the best work of the night was between Seth and Breaker. I actually am into that. I'm not into anything else. I'm into that.
Yeah,
I thought the promo last week was very good between Seth and Seth.
Yeah, it's a good start. A good start to the show, obviously, because Roman obviously appeared. He wanted to go to the ring, and then Seth Rollins is there, and Seth's like, you're in my way. And then Seth goes out, and then he's immediately attacked by Braun Breaker. So yeah, they're building to a good feud. Why can't they do that with any other feud that's going on? Everything else just seems like half baked.
Yeah, call me cynical, but I need him to drop the Breaker name and pick up the Steiner name.
I've never liked the name Rebel. I've always thought it's weird. It's like when they first gave him the name, it's just like I don't think they wanted to let people know he's a Steiner, but then people were like, well, we already know. Everybody already knows that he's Rick's kid. He looks obviously his body and everything looks incredibly like Scott. He's got the whole Scott Steiner stuff. Even the way he talks sounds a bit like Scott Steiner. So he's blatantly kind of not ripping off, but blatantly he's going in that direction anyway. The fans all know he's a Steiner, and now people are calling him it in his promo. So yeah, I agree with you, mate. Would you call him Bron Steiner? I don't like the name Bron either, but that's just me. What would you call him?
Well, you see, that's the difficult thing. Like, it's one thing to kind of get rid of the whole Breaker part of it. Like, if they go completely renaming him, they have to kind of come up with some sort of a storyline, imagine, for the first name. But I think we're stuck with Braun. But Braun Steiner is a lot better than Breaker, in my view. It's an improvement. Yeah. It's not perfect, but it's an improvement.
Why don't you just call him Bronson Steiner? So that's his name.
That would work. But
Because he's just shortened his real name down to Braun.
I mean, just go. We know the reason why they didn't want him doing it because they want to trade. You know what the WWE are like. They want to own everything, so they don't want him being called his actual name because they can't trademark it like they couldn't with Hall and Nash. They can't trademark his proper name, so that's why they did it. Because it's like, well, we want to own you, mate. We want to own you, right? So we can't trademark it if it's your real name. That's why they did it. They want to own it. They want to own everything, man. So,
but they let John Cena use his real name.
I bet you they wish they wouldn't have though. They didn't. I bet Vince wished that he would have called him something else in hindsight, so he could trademark it.
Didn't John Cena sell him the rights to the name originally, and he had to actually buy it back at some point later in his career?
I don't know.
Did he have to buy it? Well, he actually sold him the rights to his real name. I don't remember.
I think there was a whole story about that, or it was either Cena or somewhat one of the other main kind of event level stars in the Cena era that they actually had the rights to his actual name, and it was like, oh, what am I going to do if I ever leave this company? And they had to come up with some sort of an arrangement for him to buy back his rights.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else on Raw? I mean, none of us. I'm just getting the impression here that none of us were that impressed with it because none of us are exactly talking about. Yeah, that was great. No, so was there much on it for any of us? I didn't enjoy it.
I only watched the highlights. I didn't even watch Raw. I watched the highlights of Raw, and it genuinely feels like I'm repeating something Alan said here. It genuinely feels like I have made this match card up myself at home. The amount of run-ins that are happening at the minute, the amount of skullduggery or fuckery that's going off, the amount of people that are getting involved in matches when there's no need to get involved in matches. It's like, yeah, okay. It's literally like I'm playing universe mode on a computer game. I've seen it all before. I can do it at home. Why do I need to watch it?
Before WrestleMania, I remember talking to Com and Rebel during our prediction saying that Finn Balor, he needs to do something. They need to kind of like, if they run a rebuilding, they need to do something. The fact that he's still feuding with the Judgment Day and then loses this week. I know that I don't hate JD. It's not really JD's fault, but who then loses this week and the feud must continue. I just thought to myself, no, if they really wanted Finn Balor to be a big deal, and this is why I wasn't convinced that they did, they would move him away. If somebody needs to trade to SmackDown, get Finn Balor away from the Judgment Day. Trade him to SmackDown.
I don't think it'd matter. Honestly, I don't. I think they have massively dropped the ball with Finn. I think him, obviously, the WrestleMania coming back out as a demon was his fresh start, and they've gone. We don't actually want to put the effort in, so we're just going to make you go back to how you used to be. It's easier for us. We don't have to write anything.
Yeah, but they really badly want a European star, right? And Drew McIntyre obviously is a heel. So Finn Balor is we all saw the reaction he got. He got a main event reaction. I mean, he doesn't get that on a weekly basis in America, which he doesn't. He doesn't get that. He's not being treated that way. Why would he get it? But in the UK, in Ireland, the UK Isles, he's the biggest star they've probably got. I mean, the only other one is probably, I know you might say Sheamus maybe, but I don't think Sheamus is as popular as Finn Balor was. So there's stuff they could do with him. I don't understand why he's still being stuck in this mid-card Judgment Day feud. I don't get it, guys.
Prime Sheamus, I think, was definitely up there in terms of the popularity levels. He was probably one of their biggest stars at one point. Current Sheamus, not so much. I think he's kind of moving to stuff outside of in-ring within either the business or with Pat McAfee. In terms of Raw itself, I think the key highlights were that it ran 12 minutes short by all accounts. There was no women's matches. I have to say I'm impressed that Oba managed to get a sit-up powerbomb on Otis. That was pretty damn impressive from a physical standpoint. I know he used the ropes to assist it. And then obviously, I actually felt sorry for Soul. There must have been something on the ropes that she kind of lost her footing, but because she's done that move a million times and she doesn't normally misstep. But as you said, something's going awry, and for Finn's sake, he just needs to get away from WWE at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to lose that match as well. I'm assuming they're setting up another match between him and Dom. Dom ain't going to lose to him again. Dom's going to win that match. Dom's going to win the next one. He probably won't be in the demon form. It'll be normal Finn Balor, so I guess that's why they will let it happen. But so I don't think Balor wins this feud. He won the big match at WrestleMania, but if they're having another match, which it looks like they're going to, they're not going to have Dom lose twice to him. So prepare yourselves, because I reckon Dom's going to beat him to end the feud. So, any thoughts on this Roxanne stuff? Because they seem to be using Finn to try and get a face turn from Roxanne. I'm okay, but I thought it would be Liv who'd be the face, considering the reaction she generally gets. But I've no problem with Roxanne being a face, so I think she's probably a better heel. It looks like they're going for a Roxanne Liv feud. I'm going to guess maybe SummerSlam, or maybe a Money in the Bank win. I could see a Money in the Bank win for Perez. That would make sense, and then she catches in.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I think I would prefer, a Liv Morgan face turn, but whilst Dom's still in the picture and their relationship is still blossoming and booming, that's never going to happen, is it?
I think the big thing that needs to happen is Judgment Day just needs to die in its own right. Have JD go his own way, have Roxanne go kind of do her feud, and have Raquel kind of also maybe a triple threat where they're all at each other's throats.
Yeah, I felt like when Perez came into the group was last year, wasn't it? Just before Liv Morgan had her bad injury, it looks like they were planting the seeds for Dom and Perez to kind of get together and a face turn for Liv Morgan. That was where the seeds were being planted, and then obviously Morgan had her injury, and came back heel, and now she's the champion. So it looks like that feud is going to happen. But it looks like they've completely changed the storyline with. I mean, I guess it could still happen, but then that would make Perez the bad guy, and it doesn't see. Based on so far, it doesn't look like she's going to be the heel, but they could do that. They could reignite that and have it being that Dom cheats with Perez over, and then Morgan turns face. That's what the original storyline, I'm pretty sure, was going to be. If you guys remember back last year when they were hinting at when Perez first joined the group, she was like being smoochy with Dom and like bringing him stuff. Do you remember this stuff? She was bringing him food and stuff like that and trying to sweet talk him.
Yeah,
blatantly obvious that's the route they were going to go until Liv Morgan got injured.
But they've already done that storyline within the Judgment Day though. So obviously originally it was Dom and Rhea, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then obviously Dom was cheating on Rhea with Liv Morgan.
Well, the Judgment Day, as Rebel says, they just seem to repeat the same storylines. Damian Priest was kicked. Edge was the first one; he was kicked out, and then Damian Priest was kicked out, and Rhea Ripley was kicked out. I mean, and then Finn Balor's been kicked out. The next one on the block, based upon when they were recruited, it should be Dom. Based on when people were recruited, Dom's the next one who should be kicked out because it's a revolving door.
It feels like to me that Judgment Day have been given the Nexus treatment. If you know what I mean by that. If you don't, what I mean by that is obviously the group formed. They had Wade Barrett and everybody there, and then they started not doing things right, and then people started getting kicked out, and then a new leader came in, and then the old leader got kicked out. You know what I mean? It literally just reminds me of the Nexus.
At least they haven't formed a secondary group called the Core. Yeah,
Not yet. We might get it.
The core version of the Judgment Day on coming to SmackDown. See, Finn won't be able to get away even there. They'll follow him there.
Oh Lord!
Anything else on Raw? I mean, what did you think of the main event stuff with Jacob and Roman? I'm still not buying it. I still can't stand Roman as a babyface. I think it's absolutely dreadful. Am I meant to be booing Fatu? I'm cheering him, but maybe that's my dislike of Roman. But am I meant to be booing him? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Supposedly, yeah. Jacob's meant to be the heel in this feud, yeah.
Did he? But
Roman's a really shite face.
I know.
So why have they made Roman the face?
Because
he's a better heel, isn't he? Much they're both better heels.
But in this feud, right, you'd want Roman Reigns to be the heel. And because, I mean, Jacob's pretty new. I know he's had the obviously heel persona, all his thing. But I mean, he gets cheered more than what Roman does.
Yeah, that's true.
Because this is probably Reigns' last run. God, I shouldn't say these things. I'm jinxing it. This is probably his last run with the belt because, as Alan has said multiple times, he is going to be winding it down. He wants to go to Hollywood, like they all do. And even though he's going to be doing more dates over summer, although I believe they've removed him from some stuff in June. He's not going to be at Saudi.
Strange, that, isn't it?
Yeah. Funny that he was meant to be here all summer. Which one is it, Roman? So I'm assuming
around that though, Mr. Bonaventura, that apparently he was told to take the TKO contract, and he told them to where to stuff it, and they're after pivoting. And not only is he not going to Saudi, they just decided we're taking you off TV. So I imagine it could be telling if there's a belt change on Saturday that maybe he's out of there.
We will get to the contract stuff. The next topic we'll get to will be the whole stuff with the New Day and the contracts. Yeah, so that might play a part in that, Rebel. Anyone else got anything to say? I mean, none of us are very happy, I don't think, with Raw right now. But does anything else happen on the whole? I'm racking my brain that I really cared about.
Anything else on the Raw? We had the Femi Open Challenge. So Ruca botched the thing.
Stop doing flips, love. You don't need to do that many flips. You're going to injure yourself. You're going to have a short learn psychology. When she learns psychology, then I'll pay attention to her.
Joe Hendry appeared.
Oh yeah, Joe Hendry. Sung a song about Logan Paul again. Basically the same song from last week, and he went against Austin Theory. That ended in DQ because Logan Paul got involved.
No tag division. There's no tag division left to fight them all.
It's true.
It's
just Division and the Street Profits. That's basically the tag division on Raw.
Yeah, Street Profits come out, didn't they, to help him?
That's right. Yeah.
I think if you examine the tag teams across all three WWE brands, you probably struggle to have a full roster of tag teams.
How can they not be unifying the titles? How can they not do that now? Considering they've got to unify the titles, they've got no teams.
Because I think what's going to happen is, because there are quite a bunch of people that have been sat in NXT for quite a lot of time, they're just going to bring all them up on cheaper contracts.
Well, they have done a lot of that already. There was a mass influx of NXT talent into both Raw and SmackDown. Evil is obviously in NXT, Io Sky's husband. But he's not going to be there long. He's just kind of giving them a bit of star power until some of their new indie names kind of make names for themselves. But I don't think there's many more in NXT that they can actually pull up that are ready at this point. Because it's all new.
But that's what I'm saying. Now, I don't think they care whether or not they're ready. The matter of the fact is they can offer cheaper money. They can offer cheaper contracts. Because let's be honest, they must be absolutely leaking money with some stuff they're doing at the minute.
Well, yeah. Apparently, they're losing money hand over fist on events like WrestleMania was a disaster for them. How many times have you seen them having had to literally twerk to sell WrestleMania tickets?
They were doing more than that, Rebel. They were selling the seat at the commentary booth if you were a millionaire. Apparently. If you all remember that guy, that was comedic gold. That was. Being joined by, I can't remember the guy's name. He's not allowed to speak. He just sits there, and he paid millions for that apparently, because he's like some millionaire from Jersey or something. I think they found out who he was, and he's some millionaire from Jersey. He must have paid God knows how much for that opportunity to be sitting next to.
Okay, if I pay £1 million to sit in the commentary, I want to say no. I want to call a match. I'm paying for it. God damn it.
Look, you paid all that money. Wouldn't if you just said something funny? What are they going to do? It's live TV. Just do it. You already paid your money. What a wasted opportunity. Okay, I guess that's Raw then. As you can tell, guys, none of us thought much of Raw. Yeah, this is the normal WrestleMania lull with a crap champion and a challenger who I don't buy either. All due respect to Jacob, but he hasn't done enough. He beat Drew McIntyre, but he's done nothing. What else has he done in the last 6 months? Nothing. So there we are. It's the main event scene. Backlash predictions. Only, I think it's 4 or 5 matches, so we'll get through this pretty fast. Who wants to go first? Do we all know the card? I don't even think I know the whole card. I think I know a couple of the matches.
Yeah, I know the card.
We have obviously Reigns versus Jacob. We have Rollins versus Steiner. I'm calling him Steiner from now on. I don't care. We have the Gingerbread Man running it back for the Intercontinental title against Whoop That Trick. We have Io and Asuka finishing off their feud. Danhausen and his mystery partner, rumored to be Obafemi, versus The Miz and the Idiot. And then history making news from John Cena live at Backlash.
John Cena sure came back fast. I'm not interested in anything John Cena's got to say about anything.
No.
I have seen the rumors.
How much you betting? How much you betting is Danhausen and Cena?
No, they can't. They can't. I know why you think that way. They can't. If they brought Cena back for that match, even if he just did an FU or whatever it's called, and then even if he just did that and that's all the match was, they can't. Not after the retirement. Not so soon, Com. They'll piss so many people off.
I don't think they care.
But Cena seems to care though, because it makes him look like a fucking hypocrite, doesn't it? Because he was asked again and again in one more match, and he was like, "No, I am actually done this time." And then he goes back on it, 4 months later? At least Mick Foley. Actually, no, Foley is a good example. He went back on it 3 months later.
Well, I don't think anyone's ever going to be able to call him a hypocrite if he does a spot in the ring, because we've seen it with Undertaker before, where he was involved in the Cody story and he did the.
Yeah, but it can't be an official match though, Rebel. He can do a spot. He can run into the ring and give the Miss an FU or whatever. He can do that. But if it's an official match, it kind of goes against the whole.
Yeah, no, I definitely think, there's definitely not going to be an official match. I think it'll be somebody else. I've
said rumors of CM Punk's been mentioned because they're real life best friends, and that's been mentioned. And I was just like, really? That's what they're gonna have? You're gonna do?
If it's Oba, if it's Oba, it is literally a case of he's the big name, he's the big guy. We need to get him in onto a pay-per-view. That is literally all that is. It makes no sense for him to be teaming up with Danhausen.
Well, they did advertise an Oba and Danhausen pre-show party, apparently, and they're selling tickets to us.
I tell you what, I wish, you know what, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it now because I know I'm going to get heat for it. Danhausen, piss off. Genuinely.
Not okay. I as a wrestler, he does absolutely nothing for me. I don't mind the comedy character in small snippets, very, very small snippets, staying away from all the people I'm meant to take seriously. I don't find that offensive. What I will say of you though, Com, is WWE always do this. They get a new toy and then they play with it so much. They run it to the ground. It's like a racehorse, right? They run that racehorse to the ground ASAP, and they do it again and again and again. Then people get fed up with it. Danhausen's just the latest toy. Some people like yourself and me actually are already a little bit sick of it. It's only been 2 months,
but
so they're going to continue to do it until he burns out, and then you won't see him again.
See, the thing is, right? The thing is, I don't know whether you guys have seen it all and stuff like that. Danhausen is a very, very good wrestler. He is a very good wrestler. I've seen Danhausen like from years ago. You know, he's been at it for a very long time. He's a veteran. But he's not even being used in the correct way. He's a comedy character. It's like, why? We've got R-Truth, who's a complete moron at times. Let him just keep doing it because everybody likes that.
It's a different toy. R-Truth has his
boring.
own. Yeah, R-Truth is their own little quirky kind of different toy. But this is another comedy character who it's the curse stuff. If Danhausen didn't have the curse stuff, right? That's what they love so much. They love doing the whole let's curse him, and then somebody slips on a banana. That's what it is. And then somebody's in the ring, they slip on a banana peel. That's what it is. That's technically what it is. It's different versions of that.
Though with the curse though, like it'd be like protecting the finishes. If you want it to be funny, you have to minimize its usage, and therefore you have to come up with other scenarios that Danhausen can engage in that will keep him doing the bit of comedy that they want him to do. But at the same time, when they decide to pull out the curse, that people aren't just going to go, "Oh, great, it's another curse. What's it going to be today? Is the ring going to fall apart, etc., etc.?" Like, if they keep going the way they're going, Danhausen will be released this time in December, I'd say, because we won't be anything left. But
I don't think there is anything left.
I suppose, obviously, kind of to help move along, I'll give my quick predictions. Danhausen's not losing that tag team match. Him and his mystery partner are going to get a Kurt win over. I'm going to say Miz East the pin. I'll be honest with you. Asuka and Io, Triple H's best score is going to win by pinfall. Trick is not dropping the belt back to the Gingerbread Man. Steiner beats Rollins, and Jacob beats Reigns.
Alan, do you want to go next then?
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, easy. Danhausen and his partner. Yeah, as I said, he's a new toy, so he ain't losing. I've heard a rumor about the Io Sky match. That Kairi Sane was meant to make an appearance to finish her storyline off. So they could be flying her back in just because technically she's still under contract, even though she's been released. She's still under contract because she's got the old 90-day no compete clause.
Look, if they offer her if they offer her like 50 grand, I'd fly back from Japan to say, if you want to give me 50 grand.
So on an EO on that one, EO beat Asuka. Lemma Pepper Steppers is going to beat Gingerbread Man. Braun over Rollins. I think Rollins is he's on his last legs. I think so. Yeah. As much as I want Fatu to beat Reigns, I still think Reigns is going to beat him. But it depends. It depends on this situation with contracts and all that. But at the moment, I will say Reigns beats Fatu.
I'll go next then. Danhausen match, can give a shit, don't care. EA versus Asuka. EA will win. Rollins versus Breaker is the only match I care about on the show. I don't know if they're going to have Rollins lose twice in a row. I think Breaker wins the last match, wherever that. This is going to be more than a one-match feud. I think Breaker wins the last match. I don't think Seth loses this one. He just lost at WrestleMania. I don't think he's going to lose again. Remember that he was injured. He's come back. He's lost his match. He's not going to lose again. So Rollins is going to beat Breaker. Breaker's going to look good. It will be close, and it might be what I would say kind of a catch him finisher. So it's not, he might not stomp him and pin him, but it could be a small package or something, that kind of an ending, right? And more of a surprise ending rather than a finisher 1, 2, 3. Rollins is going to win that one, and they're destroying Sami Zayn. I'm not happy about. I want Sami Zayn just to get that title back. I want Alan's Pepper Stepper guy just to get lost as well because I'm not interested in him. Don't want you shoved down my throat, mate. I don't like you. I think you're green. I don't think you're ready. So go away. And Roman Reigns is going to retain the title clean spear because there's no way that they're going to have Reigns drop the belt after a month. You think Roman Reigns is dropping the belt after a month? No way. No way. This is Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns doesn't do stuff like that. Roman Reigns wins. Roman Reigns has been pinned twice in the last 6 years. You think Reigns is going to lose? No way. No chance. We're stuck with them. Com, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think Danhausen and whoever he's partnered with is going to win. Not that I actually give a toss at all about what Danhausen's doing in the ring. Io Sky, I think she'll get the win. I think Trick Williams is going to do it because I think Sami Zayn's on his way out of the door, if I'm honest with you. I'm going to go with Bron Breakker to beat Seth, just for the fact that I think they're trying to push Bron Breakker a little bit more than what they are Seth. And Roman Reigns is going to retain because I think they're going to keep that belt on Roman for as long as possible until Obba's ready, and then Obba will be the one to take it off of him.
Can I put the question out there then? Are you not buying that there's blood in the water between TKO and Reigns?
No, personally. Not with Reigns. I do believe that there's some people, but not with Reigns. They are so dependent on Roman Reigns, all right? that if Reigns want, they ain't going to halve Reigns' contract because they see how valuable he is. They're not going to do it to Reigns. They're not going to do it to Punk. They're not going to do it to Rollins. They're not going to do it to Orton. They're not going to do it to Cody. They won't touch these guys. These guys, they know they can't touch. It'll be the mid-carders or the guys who haven't got value, like the New Day, which we'll get to in a sec. Those are the guys where they're going to try and slash because they haven't got that much worth anymore. I mean, New Day never had any worth to me, but when I look at their place on the card, they could be replaced with Com spoke about it earlier with the guys from NXT coming up. You can't replace a CM Punk with a guy from NXT. You can't replace a Roman Reigns from a guy from NXT. Despite me not liking him, his eyes where he's basically, the fans perceive him in a certain way. They can't replace him from a guy from NXT. The New Day, this isn't the New Day from 10 years ago where everybody loved, most people loved them. This is the New Day nowadays who nobody cares about. So they can be replaced easily. That's why they were slashing the contracts. Do you guys agree?
Yeah, no. I definitely think there's obviously cost-cutting measures, and as you say, they'll obviously put the boot on the necks of those that if they walk, they don't care. Obviously, as you said, your Lady Flair and Becky Lynch and all these kind of people that are making them money aren't going to be touched. I just thought it was interesting that Reigns' schedule was changed all of a sudden. That's all, and I'm kind of curious where that's going.
Since we've already spoken about it, we might as well continue the conversation. As Ripple just said, with them cutting the contract. So we already know of the big release, 24 wrestlers, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, and then they've added 4 more, and the 4 are JT Mateo, Tonga Loa, isn't it? Tonga Loa, and the ones which I wouldn't say. I guess I was surprised just because they have been there so long, not because they're of great value, just because they've been there so long. So yeah, I was surprised to hear that the New Day technically weren't fired. It wasn't the same way. They weren't being treated the same way the other 24. The other 24 were just let go, and it was WWE's choice. This apparently, if the rumors are true, this was the New Day's decision. They weren't generally released by the New Day's decision. They didn't want to take the pay cut. So you can say that they generally didn't want to. You can say that they generally didn't want to fire the New Day. They just didn't want to pay them the cushy contracts they signed a year ago. But they didn't actually want to fire the New Day. They just didn't think they were worth the money that they are getting paid. Whereas the other 24 guys, they wanted to fire. That's a slight difference that we need to make sure probably that doesn't get lost in this. They generally didn't want to fire the New Day.
Yeah, and if rumors are true, they actually want to retain Xavier Woods, don't they?
That's for his gaming show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Down.
Yeah. I mean, Mateo, right? We'll go over them quickly. Mateo, look, Jeff Cobb, he's okay. I've seen him in Japan. He's quite solid. I don't think he's anything special, but I think he's quite solid. He reminds me of Rhino. If people remember Rhino, he reminds me of Rhino. He's built like Rhino, the ECW champion Rhino. People remember him. He reminds me a lot of Rhino, but he's on the older side as well. He's on the older side as well. So he's not like this young up. If people think he's this young up and comer, he's not. He's quite a veteran. He's nearly the end of his career.
Yeah, he's 43, isn't he?
Yeah, he hasn't got that many years left. So it's not like just because we hadn't seen him really before in America that much. He's not like this young up and comer. So we probably shouldn't have been that surprised. Tonga Loa, Alan's favorite. Alan, you tell me how much you love Tonga Loa, Alan.
I love those slow motion chops he does. I never got to see them in WWE, so I'm actually quite upset. And that 619 he hit in Japan, wow! I wanted to see that in WWE.
If people don't know what you're looking at, go Google Tonga Loa worst wrestling and just type that in, and you'll see what Alan's talking about. He's terrible. So they must have realized watching him backstage, this guy's the absolute shits. And even though he's Samoan, I don't know how they got that one past Roman. Roman must have. I don't know how they got that one past Roman to let one of the Samoans go.
Maybe they didn't get it past Roman. Maybe that's part of the dispute with Roman.
Oh, what? Because one of the family members is crap, and they let him go, and Roman's upset. Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, and apparently Tama's on the chop as well.
Yeah,
it's weird. That is that one.
I couldn't figure out how he survived and the other one went. Like, whatever about our big giant new toy that they have, it just didn't make sense that they retained one of that tag team and got rid of the other.
I thought because isn't he in the middle of he did the whole storyline with the Wyatts, who obviously are all gone as well. But he's in the middle of this storyline with Solo, where it's like He's speaking up, isn't he? He's speaking up to Solo. He's like he's challenging Solo Sikoa's kind of. There's obviously going to be a feud between Solo Sikoa and Nat, so I'm assuming that's why he's retained, because they want to do this feud with Solo Sikoa over the MFTs, which don't exist anymore. So what are they going to be fighting over? There's nobody left.
I presume there's going to be something to do with Shin involved in it. Maybe they think that they can get a bit more out of him with Shinsuke. Who knows?
Maybe. None of us are that bothered by those two. I think that none of us really would have lost any sleep, but that would have been, that makes sense. But the New Day, for me, I never liked the New Day. I can respect them that they're not the worst wrestlers ever, and I don't think they are. I remember seeing Xavier Woods when he was Consequences Creed in TNA. He's a talented guy. Kofi Kingston is a talented guy as wrestlers. I can't stand the gimmick. I despise the gimmick with Big E. That's just me personally. I hated them. And I hate the fact Alan will back me up on this one. I know he will. I hate the fact they broke Demolition's record.
Yep, I do. As far as I'm concerned, Demolition's record is intact.
So I don't care about them. Nothing of value was lost for me, though I do admit that they are. I can admit that they were very popular. I can admit that in their day they were very. I couldn't understand it, but I heard the crowd reactions. Kids liked them, I guess. I guess it's for the kids. They want to do the pancake and the Big E doing the very, very.
It was the PG era too, as well. You must bear in mind.
It was, yeah, that's true. That's it. They were for the kids, and I wasn't a kid, so I guess they're not for me. But so for me, nothing of value. But how do you guys feel? Were you shocked? Is it a loss? It looks like this. It looks like the AEW bound. That looks like the AEW bound as well. So
I don't think it's a massive loss. Talking personally for myself here, I think the New Day have been on a downward spiral ever since they kind of turned on Big E. Anyway, it's never been the same ever since Big E stopped being part of the New Day, and obviously they went through this whole heel thing. Didn't really work. They were always like a crowd favorite kind of group, but I think it's time. I mean, I don't think they're. I mean, how old are they? To be fair. So I think they might be coming to ends of their careers. To be fair,
they're both 40. Kofi Kingston's been around for nearly 20 years. He was around in the ECW revival.
So Kofi Kingston's 44, and Xavier Woods is 39. So they're both on the back end. So maybe it's not really a massive issue. Maybe they are releasing people to make way for younger talent coming through.
Well, that's a bit ironic considering the age profile of some of the people that they signed. Evil's like close to 40, and they put.
He's a comedy character, isn't he?
Yeah, but I'm just saying that they tried to kind of slip by us that it was an age profile shift, but they didn't really shift the age profile, which I thought was kind of interesting. And when I say Evil, I mean Evil, the Io Sky's husband, not Evil, very nice. Call him just a clarify. But with the New Day,
then the argument for that is he's not really full time, is he? He's on a part-time contract.
There is that. But I suppose when you look at the usage of Kofi though, and Xavier, at the end of the day, they were doing nothing with them for the guts of a year. They kind of had various bits and bobs, that just didn't work. But where I thought it was interesting that they did kind of didn't do anything to kind of keep them per se is their tag division is so bare. You'd have thought that until they got a few more tag teams through the door, that they might have tried to hold on to them, but they were doing nothing with them. I just hope for their sake they don't do what the Hardys did and just continue to where their stuff just looks slow, because I'm starting to see with the Usos, one is just not able to move anymore the way that they used to.
The question is, guys, what do you? Let's say New Day. Let's say they would have retained the New Day. What do you do with them? You've got a team that have been together. There's a shelf life for every team. Even the great teams like the Road Warriors didn't last as long as the New Day. Even the best teams, even the Steiner brothers, in the end they separated eventually. So at some point, a team can only last X amount of time. It's the way that it is. They've done everything. They've been baby faces. They tried being a heels. The heel turn itself was okay. I remember it with Big E. That the heel, they got a decent reaction. But still, what more can they do together? They have done everything. They've won that tag belt so many times. They've feuded with every team that there's been. They've had multiple matches with all of them. Okay, what more can they do as a team with those two? They've done everything. They should have probably split them up instead of doing the heel turn with Big E, because they knew Big E couldn't come back because of his neck, right? So they could never reform it properly. They should have had the rumored feud that they were going to do, which was going to be one of them turning heel. Probably, I think it was going to be Xavier Woods turning heel and Kofi as the face. They should have probably gone that. They should have moved them back into singles, but they stayed together. Maybe Xavier Woods was a bit too scared because Kofi's kind of proven to a certain degree that as a single star, he had some decent success. Whereas Xavier Woods, with all due respect, was never anything else without the New Day. Kofi had some moments before the New Day as a single star. He had his moments. I mean, he might not have been a main eventer, but he was able to swim and do okay. But Xavier has never been anything without the New Day. So maybe he got cold feet and didn't want to split them up. I just mean that as a tag team, they can go to AEW, and there is some fresh matches for them. They're gonna have matches with the Bucks. They'll have some more matches with FTR. Xavier Woods is great mates with Kenny Omega. His Cesaro's there. Adam Cole's there. All his old buddies from the gaming channel are all there, so you can see exactly how this is going to go down. All his friends are there. But I just mean, as a tag team, what in the WWE, what more was there for them to do? As a team?
There wasn't anything for them to do as a team. The ideal option for them, if they were going to stay, was like you said, you push Kofi Kingston back into singles matches because he's capable of doing it, and you probably turn Xavier Woods into a manager type role to coach and help a newer team that's been formed.
Yeah. Can I just mention something, just obviously, as Kofi Kingston has left WWE, to quote the great HBK, what happened to your Jamaican accent?
True. Very true.
Nice little burial. A burial from DX, you knew, huh?
Yeah, you're supposed to be Jamaican.
Yeah, and then the same period of time that they beat the Spirit Squad, put them into a dumpster with OVW on it. I mean, only DX can get away with this stuff.
Yeah,
only
they can.
Burials. Anything else you guys want to talk about on the 4 releases? I mean, Rebel quickly mentioned it. We are coming because I know you guys have got to go for the Champions League. Are we expecting any more cuts? Because there's been more rumors that other people are being offered these 50% contracts. Others are being offered it. So are we expecting more of it?
Yeah, I've heard some names mentioned of it. About who's taking the 50%. Apparently, LA Knight was given the 50%. Dom Mysterio's got offered 50%.
I hope LA Knight doesn't take it and he leaves.
I'm surprised Dom's been given it, because Dom obviously is what I would call one of the people they seem to think is going to be a main. I'm not sure about it, but they seem to be looking at him that way. LA Knight, I think they're not going to go all in with that guy. So maybe that one makes a bit more sense to me, because I don't think they're convinced by him. But Dom Mysterio, I think that they still think he's going to be a main eventer at some point. But
I wouldn't be surprised if we start hearing the names like Rey Mysterio being mentioned as well in this talks going forward. And I know he's got a match. Has he got a match? Yeah, I know he's got a match at Backlash, but maybe Sami Zayn is one as well.
Yeah.
I think, wow.
And I think some of the women's roster, I don't think they're done there either.
I can see Jade Cargill going. I don't think they. I think they tried the experiment with her, realized just how bad she was.
Good.
And they have nothing else to do with that woman. It's just like, well, what do we do with her? She's horrible at nearly everything, other than the fact that she might look okay on a poster. She's got nothing else going for her.
What about the Samoan?
Which one? There's several.
Nia Jax.
She can go as well. It wouldn't be a big loss.
No, she can't go until they've had the feud with her and Lash Legend, right? Because they're big on this Lash Legend, so she's got to break up with Nia Jax, and Nia Jax has got to put her over. Then they'll probably release her. There you go.
Maybe. Maybe. I mean, obviously there are loads of names that have been released, and like we're saying, there's going to be more. We know for a fact there's going to be more. The question I just want to quickly pose to you is, why the hell did they bring Alistair Black back just to get him just to release him?
Apparently,
I thought that was weird.
Because he actually was really good doing like AEW. He started making a name for himself. He looked impressive. He came into the WWE, kind of continued that for a bit, and then I just don't remember anything from him since then. And it's like, why even bother bringing him back?
It's weird as well because obviously he made his I wouldn't say he's made his name. He kind of had a name before, but he got a lot of notoriety in the black and gold NXT when NXT was at its prime. He was one of the main players there alongside Gargano and Ciampa, stuff like that. So you think that under Triple H is, I mean, this is the reason why he came back from AEW, because Triple H was now in charge, and he was just like, okay, well now Vince McMahon's not gonna. Do you remember when Alistair Black first debuted and they gave him that creaking? Alan will remember. They gave him this creaking noise when he used to.
Oh God, yeah, that's Vince.
You think that was Triple H who did that, or do you think that was Vince McMahon? He tried to turn him into a vampire, right? That's what they tried to do. Turn him into a little bit of a vampire kind of character. It's like, what? It's in the Brood, mate.
Yeah, Vince.
So under Triple H. No, exactly. Under Triple H, he had a good character. So he probably went back there thinking, well, Triple H is going to treat me the same way. But they did nothing with him. What did he do all year?
But this is what I'm saying. Like, why even re-sign him after he's like actually doing very well for himself to then get nothing done and him just getting released? I don't understand the logic behind a lot of these. Like, I get why obviously Nikki Cross and everybody's getting released. I kind of see that because obviously the Wyatt Six is kind of like done. You know, you can't do anything with that. I mean, you've got wrestlers like Santos Escobar who's getting released as well. Tommaso Ciampa. You what?
He was sent to AAA, wasn't he? Santos.
He's fine.
Yeah, well, he's gone. Yeah, he's gone, hasn't he? His contract's been torn up. But, yeah, so there's... What else is there? Apollo Crews, who we don't really see. I mean, he's getting on other end. There's like Pat McAfee, he's going as well. Road Dogg's been released. Tommaso Ciampa has been released. Obviously, Jelly Roll and ISO Speed have gone as well.
Gargano says he's not re-signing. He hasn't been fired, but he's come out and said that he's not signing his next contract, so he could be on the shop block any day.
Apparently, Ciampa's already prepping for his arrival.
Yeah.
Chris Sabian's gone as well. I mean, there's like names on here where you look and you're like, there's some decent-ish names on there that could help still, and they're just not bothered.
AEW are going to have a hell of a tag roster, despite me not liking the booking. They are going to have a lot of, because it looks like the machine guns are going to go there. The New Day, whatever they're going to be called, they won't be called the New Day, but whatever they're going to be called, they're going to be going there. So they're going to have 6 or 7 very good tag teams. Despite me not liking the Young Bucks, I don't think they're bad wrestlers. They're not for me, but they're not bad wrestlers. They're going to have a very, very impressive tag team division when it comes to wrestling, because they're going to pick up because the Guns had a couple of matches with AEW before they signed with WWE, so they'll just go back. They'll just go to AEW.
Don't forget as well, Tequila, they have the triple tag team belts as well.
Yeah, they got the trios titles, and then you've got the kind of Edge and Christian retirement tour. So I'm sure some of the teams would like to have one match with those guys before they finally retire. So the tag team division in AEW over the next 12 months or so, because I reckon the Guns and New Day for sure are both going to show up there. Oh,
we lost Alan.
We've lost Com, I think.
No, I'm still here.
Oh,
we just lost Al.
Oh, Al's gone. Sorry.
Sorry.
It was Com.
No, sorry, it's me.
Okay, cool. It was Com.
Press the button. Sorry.
I mean, we're going to end up anyway because you guys are going to go for the Champions League. So, I guess we just have to wait and see who gets fired next. Yeah. So this time next week we could be talking about some more people. So we'll have to wait and see, I guess. But anything else you guys want to discuss quickly before we head off?
Yeah, I just have one quick item that I just saw that was mentioned. It's a quote from Cody Rhodes' podcast and how he's the behind the scenes look, and that it's killing the industry because people don't want to see how things are done or why things are done. They just want the storyline.
Is he talking about this Unreal show? Is that what he means?
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, Punk's not a fan of that either. He's not a fan of things being, spoken about, because he says it's like an unwritten rule, really, that you don't talk about how the business operates.
Well, the guys who are either older or the guys who have wrestling fathers are very protective of kayfabe. We all know what that term means, I'm sure. Like Dusty Rhodes was massive about kayfabe. Bill Watts was massive about kayfabe. I listen to Jim Cornette often. I know, shocking, right? So kayfabe. Yeah, they've gone too far with it. Some of these guys were not going to handle. I think Undertaker's spoken about it as well on his podcast, and that's a WWE podcast. Yeah, it's too much. Yeah, you don't want to show everything. You can show a little bit, but they've gone too far. I agree with Cody Rhodes 100%.
Like, even with Seth Rollins, when he was out and he was doing his kind of hamming up of the injury, he walked around towns and streets with a boot for kayfabe.
Yep. Yeah. And so, hey, look, if Netflix orders a show, they're in bed with Netflix. If Netflix wants these shows, then they're going to do them. It could be that the WWE doesn't particularly want to do them, but if Netflix wants more content, WWE have to bend the knee, don't they? They've got to.
I suppose the other side of it as well is, though, nobody's forcing wrestling fans to watch the peek behind the curtain either.
Yeah, but you can't. It's a difficult one, Rebel. I know what you mean, but it's difficult. It's like, well, it is interesting. I'm not going to say that it's not interesting, because you do kind of want to see, like, how do these creative meetings look? What do they actually look like? What actually is said there? And we've heard some of the pearls of wisdom from guys like Michael Hayes, for example, that you hear. So there is an interest there. I can't deny that there's not an interest there, but it's just like, is it worth the damage it does? And I think Cody's bang on. It's not worth the damage.
It's difficult. I mean, because for instance, somebody like me who's actually been behind that side and in the ring,
that's kind of a bit different, I guess. Yeah, if you've actually been a wrestler, maybe you see it differently. But...
Yeah, because obviously I know the inner workings of how it all goes about, and the spot calling in matches and your little pre-match practice before doors open and all this kind of stuff. So I know a lot about it already. So to me, it's like interesting to see how WWE do it, and I know it's not all cloak and dagger as such. They're like what people want it to be. I know obviously things are going off, and a lot of us do. But I mean, I've enjoyed watching the stuff that they've put out. The behind the scenes stuff. It's a good watch. But I think for any really true diehard fan that believes in, I don't want to know what's going off, I just want to see what's going off in the ring. I want them to tell me the story instead of seeing how it's progressed from there to there by these people telling me and how they've worked it. I do get it, yeah. I mean, things in wrestling have to be protected. 100% do. When I was wrestling, I had friends who were asking me how things were laid out and stuff. It's like, I can't tell you. I'm not going to tell you how things are done, because you've got to protect the industry. You got to protect the art that is, professional wrestling.
Do you think it's an age thing as well? Just like, do you think when Cody Rhodes is saying that, it's like, well, yeah, if you're a fan in your 20s, you know that it's predetermined, that stuff, so it's not going to really damage your enjoyment. But if you're 10 years old, right, whatever age you want to use, maybe even younger than that, maybe even 10-year-olds nowadays know it's not real. But if you're a kid, that show's available. It's not hard for you to see that show, so it's going to be destroyed for you. Yeah. If you're a kid, it's going to be destroyed for you much earlier than it probably would be for going back 20 or 30 years ago, when eventually you realize, everybody realizes at some point, but it's at that time you do realize. Having these shows like that means it's really easy to realize it's predetermined. And then once you see it's predetermined, your view of the whole thing does change. Some people go off it once they realize it's not real. When they're kids, they start thinking, well, this is just silly. Not everybody, but some people do they think it's legit, and then once they realize it's predetermined, they do lose interest, because they thought it was a legit sporting attraction.
Yeah, I mean, when I was younger growing up, I thought it was like legitimate. When I was watching it, and the point I realized how it wasn't was, I mean, it was when Goldberg ripped out of those handcuffs. I was like, oh, okay, so I can see that it's been staged, because not a normal person would be able to absolutely snap a pair of handcuffs in half, regardless of how big you are. And I was like, so then I did more digging and stuff, and I realized, it is actually all staged out. It's not a fight; it's a performance.
Yeah, I mean, and there's certain characters which, I mean, anyone with any logic knows is, how many kids thought the Undertaker's really dead? Most of them from the age of maybe 11 didn't do that, right? They realized, he's not actually a zombie. This is the old Undertaker character, not the recent years, but back in the day, right? But there were still kids, single-digit kids maybe, but still kids who were like, go to their parents and be legitimately scared and say, he's dead. Nobody can beat the Undertaker because he's literally dead. He's like a zombie. He's a supernatural being. And they believed that, till they get to double digits, and then, the coin does finally drop, so they say. But I think that's what Cody means, Rebel. Anyway, that's what I think he means. It means like younger fans are going to have the illusion's going to be taken from them much earlier than it was for most of us. That's the negative effect, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. But as you said, like, but maybe if it was to do with older stuff, if the time lapse in the stuff that we're peeking under the curtain on was kind of, from the 80s, you might say, that was interesting. That's how they kind of came up with the idea of throwing Mick Foley off the cage. Yeah. There might be kind of a historic interest factor in that, kind of reliving our childhood type thing. But with current stuff, I don't like it. As much as we all know, we like to tell ourselves that we don't.
Suspension of disbelief. It's like if somebody looks at the camera and tells you it's fake. We all know it's fake, but you don't want to be reminded that it's fake. You want to try to lose yourself in the moment, which is difficult enough as it is. We don't need help from the wrestlers telling us that this isn't real.
Yeah, I mean, even if you don't look at it like, I know obviously we're looking at a wrestling point of view, but if you don't look at it a wrestling point of view, like, we all play video games. If we're playing a horror video game, you want to get, it's not real. It's not real because you're looking at a screen, but it feels real, and that's kind of like that's what every one of us want. We want it to feel real and not fake.
Yes, yeah, it's immersion breaking. It's immersion breaking. So, I find the shows interesting, but I understand 100% why there's certain things that shouldn't be said, and I think CM Punk said something similar as well. And I think sometimes if you see the wrestlers get a bit angry and have had to tell the cameras to kind of shut off a couple of things, so even they must have their limits as well. I don't think many of the wrestlers like it. They might not all come out and say it. Cody Rhodes is bulletproof. He can say what he wants, but I bet if you went around most of the roster, very few of them probably enjoy having these cameras around backstage. I'd imagine. Right, yeah, then I guess we've gone past 8 and there's Champions League game on. So big up and thank you to Alan, Com, Rebel, and I myself as well. But please do join us next week at 7. Well, we'll be discussing who's been fired next week. Now we'll be talking about Backlash, and probably if any of us manage to stay up and not fall asleep during it, I'll be shocked. I know what me and Alan are like. Good luck to me and Alan. I don't know about Com and Rebel. You guys might not be watching it live. I don't know if Com's working, but if you watch it live, good luck not falling asleep.
I'll be watching it Sunday through day. I ain't staying up for it.
Exactly. Yeah. Me and Alan will go to sleep. I'm sure. I'll fall asleep during the Danhausen match, unless it is a 30-second squash. I might stay awake for that part.
Yeah, well, it's not a match. It'd be a comedy segment more than a match.
Yeah, maybe I'll get through it then. But then the women's match will probably 100% put me out.
Oh, definitely. EO Sky's music hits. I'm gone.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you again, and do remember to like, subscribe, and then join us next week at 7. So enjoy your wrestling, enjoy Backlash, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye for now.
Cheerio.